Nice to meet you. I'm getting married! I finally found the love of my life. Yes, it's a video game. But this parasocial relationship won't work if I don't give you unadulterated access to every bit of my life, so I'd like you guys to meet her. This is Cassette Beasts, and she's open to polyamory. Whatever the hell that bit was aside, I found a new game that is extremely well made and so fun to play. She's also an exhibitionist, and she'd like me to show her off to all of you. I guess I'm keeping the weird bit going. Ever heard of Pokemon? Well, that's a great jumping off point if you have, but just in case you haven't, Cassette Beasts is a creature collector game, which means you run around enslaving every fancy little monster you can, and then force them to fight for you in classic turn-based RPG combat. And while on the surface this game works very much like Pokemon, beyond that, just about everything is changed. I would say improved, but the Poke fans are already mad at me for last time. First of all, I get it. This art style isn't for everyone. It looks good to me, and the story does interact with it a bit, but it's been a while since Pokemon was sprite-based, and some people are crazy enough to prefer these creepy models. They don't sculpt the faces, it's just textures. No, this video is about Cassette Beasts. This is now a safe space for Pokemon fans. They already have to deal with enough. Even when I'm protecting them, I'm insulting Pokemon. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I'm not gonna try and disguise anything. Cassette Beasts was my game of the year. Oh, it's January now. So what makes this game so good aside from everything? Yeah, I should probably get into that. Let's start with combat. Cassette Beasts takes the action point approach. Each turn you get 2 action points, and every move you want to use costs between 0 and 10. Cheaper moves tend to do less damage, but they're also the only way to save up for bigger moves. It's a nice system that rewards you for planning ahead rather than spamming the strongest move you have. And I totally didn't find any way to abuse it and just spam the strongest move I had. It also encourages the use of status moves a bit more by making them cheaper on average. And there are a lot of status conditions in this game. If this were your average creature collector, we'd still have a problem. It's practically industry standard to have 4 move slots per monster, so it's way harder to play around with different moves like I mentioned before. You fools! I set you up! You've been bamboozled! Of course they have more slots! Cassette Beasts, as you may have guessed, are beasts inside of cassette tapes. Don't question it. What, it makes more sense to put them in balls? Well, you'll get sued for that! And the moves they can use are dictated by the stickers you've applied to the tapes themselves, meaning you can peel and replace these stickers whenever you want and try out fancy new builds all the time. Which is great because there are a lot of different stickers with a lot of different effects. You can have your standard builds where you pack absolutely devastating moves, or you can have a gimmick where you try to dodge attacks, and whenever you do, you hit the person who attacked you 5 times. I don't make the rules, but I sure do abuse them. Speaking of abuse, well, that's not a sentence I want to find myself saying. If you're lucky, the stickers you find will be uncommon or rare, adding extra effects. They can be as tame as a bit more damage or XP, or as broken as guaranteed crits on type advantage, or adding an extra sticker slot to the cassette. One time the shop randomly sold rare stickers that had a chance to refund action points whenever we used a move, give a bit of health back at the same time, and add an extra slot for more stickers. We bought 30. Every battle is a double battle as well, allowing for some crazy support builds and combo moves. There are a couple of interesting quality of life improvements as well. The main ones revolve around the fact that you don't actually capture wild animals. Instead, your tapes have the ability to record the essence of wild animals, don't think about it, and then you can put them in your cassette player to transform into a copy of them. Seriously, don't think about it. In addition, while the tapes do level up, they level up from 0 to 5 stars max. Only 5-star cassettes can remaster or evolve, and tapes with higher stars have more slots for stickers and slightly higher stats. Their actual in-game level is determined by the human being that transformed into them. This makes the game a lot less grindy and also allows you to use newly captured beasts the second you get them. It also adds an interesting bit of nuance. If a move finishes off a beast, any excess damage that turn hits the person instead. If a person's HP reaches 0, they can't transform even if they have more tapes available. That means if you set it up right, you can beat entire trainer battles just by blasting the first guy really hard. I really need to edit my scripts more. But it also means that a wrong move can take out your entire team, although that didn't happen very often. It's a bit strange to get used to, and it honestly made the game a lot more fun for me. I'm not the type of guy to grind out perfection in these sorts of games, so the removal of most grindy mechanics made it a lot more enjoyable, if a bit less replayable for the die-hard fans. Even without grindy mechanics, there is still quite a bit to do. After a brief intro, you have a few main objectives to work toward, but you can explore the entire island of New Whirl at your own pace. Well, as long as you aren't massively overleveled. Exploration is fun, but what makes it way better are the special powers that come along the way. Capturing certain species gives you new abilities from that species that make overworld traversal a blast. It also makes it fun to hunt down and capture new species of monsters because you never know what will give you something new. I could go on and on about all of the mechanics that change this game up from the norm, and I'm going to. You're not the boss of of me. Capturing is so much better in this game. While monsters are able to run away, as long as one of your characters is attempting to capture them that turn, they will never die. This, combined with higher capture rates based on how much damage they've taken this turn, leads to a very intuitive but fun challenge of doing so much damage that you're practically guaranteed to capture something. As a trade-off, though, you are in human form while capturing. Taking damage reduces the odds, but also dying as a human is really bad, most people agree, which leads to even more strategy as you figure out what you can do to protect your human. There are ways, of course. For one, any statuses affect your player, not the monster that first got them. This means things like walls and evasion buffs stick around even in human form. On the flip side, if you try to swap into a monster that isn't sleeping or poisoned, it won't do anything to help. But this also means you can use fun setup mechanics and then swap into another creature if the situation calls for it. Statuses, whether they buff, debuff, or damage you, also don't stack in any meaningful way aside from duration. As a default, most statuses last about 3 turns, but using them again can extend this duration indefinitely, leading to situations where you have 21 turns of burn and you cry a bit, except they go away out of combat, so it's fine. Oh my god, we're still talking about combat, huh? And I haven't even gotten to the type matchups in this game. Firstly, type advantages don't give you extra damage, or at least I think they don't, but it's really hard to shake that mentality from every other game like this. Instead, hitting someone with a move they're strong or weak against applies a helpful or harmful status depending on the matchup. This can do all sorts of stuff, from increasing or decreasing the number of action points a creature gains to changing its type entirely. Also, while we're on the topic of types, some stickers are typeless. When applied to a cassette, these stickers will always be the same type as the beast. Usually this is just the type the beast starts with, but because certain moves can change a beast's type, they also change the type of moves they have access to. And for the most part, keeping track of type matchups is a little bit easier, since every beast has only one type. I say for the most part because I've been saving a mechanic for this point: fusion. In addition to the over 130 beasts in the game, there is a semi-unique sprite for every combination of 2 beasts fusing together into a super beast. While fused, you only have 1 action per turn, but you gain all 4 combined action points and add all of your stats together. This can lead to some absolutely crushing combos. Also, your fusions each have a fusion power attack that costs 10 action points and does different things based on the fusion. However, in order to unlock fusion power, you have to interact with the friendship system. No matter what, you always control yourself. I sound so philosophical, but what I mean is that you can't change the player character out for anybody else. The partner, however, is your choice between a handful of partner NPCs. Each one has a special partner beast that they gain extra stats while using, and a friendship meter that goes up as you do things with them. The higher it goes, the stronger your fusions are, and yes, you can date the NPCs. Hopefully not the dog, but I didn't check and I refused to type that into Google. I think that's most of it, aside from some really great creature designs and some good storyline that I don't want to spoil. I mean, I needed to get footage somehow, so I probably already spoiled the coolest designs because I was using them. Oh, and I can't forget about bootlegs. Bootlegs are the equivalent of shinies. They gain special stickers with extra effects more often when they level up, and have a different type and color palette than normal. There's actually one type in the game that can only be naturally found as a bootleg. Actually, there is one more thing. I played this game entirely in co-op. Normally a turn-based game doesn't really matter whether it's co-op or not, but both players are allowed to move around the overworld, and it really adds a deeper connection to your team when some of them matter more to your partner. I mean, my friend got the starter and used it for the entire game, but I won't judge him for that. I'll judge him for constantly using the 85 accuracy move and missing every time! The video is over now! Maybe go check this one out! This video is dedicated to Onyx. Like and subscribe.